Hey, welcome back to another Black City Coffee vlog. In this video, the voice is doing much better. Thank you so much for such kind comments on the last video regarding the voice. In this video, I wanted to give you guys 5 tips to cup better. This is just in my experience. I'm not a professional or anything like that, but I do find encouraged and inspired because I've just tasted this, the Siempre Verde Farm, who kindly gave me a sample of their coffee when I was in the trenches. It's a single origin coffee. The variety is Typica Mejorado and Red Catura. The region Pichincha, Ecuador. Altitude is 1500. The process is anaerobic wash. The harvest was in fall of 2020. This was actually the first coffee that I came back into where I was completely doing everything on my own except for loading the hopper because I can't reach that. One, because I was kind of nervous. I did everything the same except I had to move the cup to my face to smell the aromas. I don't know if it was weather fact that I haven't cupped in a while. I was feeling a little bit, I guess, vulnerable coming back into roasting and some sort of weird feeling or insecurity, like, do I still have it? Can I still taste? Is it still the same when I'm like this and I can't move the way that I want to? And I let it sit for maybe 2 days and I was like, you know what, I gotta just put it out there what I tasted. And I was afraid of what the Siempre Verde Farm would say and be like, we didn't get any of those notes. I've always had kind of like a hard time with cupping and putting words to what I'm tasting, but following my own advice and the advice of others, I just kept going. I just kept doing it. I was delightfully surprised when on Instagram I posted my notes, which were green apples, tart cherries, mixed berry popsicle. And that popped into my head because I've been eating a lot of popsicles from my throat. And then at the end, as it started to kind of cool, I was getting a little bit of walnut. And here's what they wrote back. Yes, green apples, cherries, and berries have come up in other roasters before, but it's so interesting how fruity this coffee has been so far. So there you go. I didn't miss, you know, so that was kind of like my biggest fear, is like totally missing the bar. And I remember when I first learned how to cup, I was just totally missing it, and that hurt me a little bit, you know. So here are my tips that I've been doing and following to become a better cupper, to be a better taster. Develop a repeatable methodology. Besides all the special tools like a special cupping spoons and cupping bowls and things like this, like those are all like cherries on top if you're doing this at home and you're just trying to get better and refine your palate. Just have something, a method of cupping your coffees which is repeatable. So same size cupping bowls, same size spoons that you always use, same time of day. Don't eat anything weird, spicy, pungent before you cup. Always cup your coffees maybe 24 hours after they've rested, after you've roasted them. Creating some sort of standard. We want the coffee to be the only variable when you're cupping. When you're at home and you're not a professional, there inevitably will be more variables, but in the end, you want to just have the coffee be the variable. My next tip, every time you eat everyday foods, fruits, meats even, potato chips, popsicles, junk food, gum, candy, things like that, try to savor them. Reach down in your brain as you're tasting and try to give words to them. If I'm eating a peach, I may be like, this is a really ripe, fibrous, dry. It's not juicy, it's not tart. It is sweet, but it's kind of faint, you know, so just like putting words to what you're tasting. We don't really normally do that as humans, and so that's why this is a skill that you develop where you really gotta reach down and go, you know, use that tongue and then your mind to like kind of taste, cycle a word, you know, in your brain and then spit it out. It's like this cycle. As you keep doing it, that cycle, which sometimes just gets stuck tasting, and like, that's good. You know, let it kind of like move through your brain and then out through your mouth. And the more you do it, the more eloquent you will become. Number 3, learn how to slurp and learn how to spit. So it's really like, I don't like cupping with my husband because he doesn't really know how to slurp. He doesn't really know how to spit. He like literally will spit like hog a loogie, and I'm like, Ew, that's so gross. When you slurp, it's kind of like you wanna whirl it around in your mouth with the air, and then when you're ready to spit, you're just letting it fall out of your mouth into your spittoon, your little cup there. You don't hawk a loogie where like little bubbles come out and real spit comes out. I don't know, it's just weird, it's ugly, it makes me cringe. You slurp, you taste, you kind of like chew the coffee, and that's why that spoon that you know, taking a sip of, it's not that deep and it's not that shallow, because you want enough coffee to kind of coat your palate. And then spit, where you're not literally spitting, you're just kind of releasing it. You're releasing the coffee back into your spittoon cup, and then you write stuff down. That just takes us to our fourth tip, which is write it down. If you're not a good note taker, I would say try to force yourself to write stuff down. Even though I have a really special place to write down cupping notes and everything like that, sometimes I end up writing it on whatever's near me, because I'm too lazy to go and get that fancy one, right? Like, just write it down. You can get back to it later, because you will not remember what exactly you were tasting in that moment. Tip number 5, when you're cupping coffee, broken the crust and everything, and you've brewed it for 4 minutes, and you've gone through the standard motions of cupping, try tasting it at different times. After 5 minutes, after 6 minutes, after 7 minutes, after 8 minutes, 9 minutes. So, as the coffee starts to cool, it will change its flavor. So I feel like the time when it's really being true, and what really, like, say your customer or client is actually tasting it at, is around like 5, 6, 7 minutes, right in there. So right there is probably where write down what I'm tasting there, and that's what I would like market. Basically, that's what I would put on the website. Like, this is what it tastes like to me at these times, because this is what you're typically going to be drinking it at. If you have customers who are brewing your coffee for like cold brew or something like that, then you can throw that in there. Like, this is what it tastes like when it's cold. I just try to mimic my customers and clients are going to go through. Those are my tips. I hope that helps. Thank you again for everybody and your very nice comments and your support of us and the content that we make here. And thank you to Siempre Verde Farms for such kind words and sending us a sample. Check them out for some unique coffees that they're creating over there. They've got a great story, and I'll put their link in the description. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video.